Hello guys, it's me again, Mr. Lena. Hello guys, what's up? It's me again, Mr. Lena, and today I'll be showing you one very interesting way of how to combine Python with mathematics. In particular, how to use Python to solve your simple mathematics questions and equations. This tutorial will start by giving you a general overview of how to use Python to solve mathematics. Then we will move into writing code by ourselves that will help us to calculate the mean, the standard deviation, and the variance of any data set. Because these three are one of the most important in the world of statistics, especially for Gaussian normal distributions and binomial distributions. We all know that statistics is also very important for data science and machine learning. Therefore, knowing how to use Python to do simple and complex mathematics will be a very good skill to have, especially if you are planning to go into data science and machine learning. Without further ado, let us begin. In order to make this tutorial as simple as possible, we will not be using any advanced IDE such as PyCharm, IntelliJ, and whatnot that I have installed on my system. We are going to be using the simple IDE that comes with installation of Python on Windows. So here I will just search for IDE and it brings it out. So I'm going to open IDE. Before we start, I would like to remind you about the simple mathematical operators such as the plus, the plus, you have the minus, the multiplication, and the division, which is represented in Python this way, and also the modulus in Python, and there is this operator in Python. This window that you are seeing is what is called the Python interpreter. You can also call it the Python shell. Here let me use the plus operator. 1 plus 1, it will give me 2. The minus operator will be like this. 2 minus 2 will give me 0. The multiplication operator will be like 2. 3 times 3 will give me 9. And the division operator will be 4 divided by 4 will give me 1.0. Also, we have the modulus, which returns the remainder of a division after the division has been done. Let's do 5 divided by 5. It will give me 0 because 5 divided by 5 it remains nothing. Now let's do 11 modulus. Sorry, this one is not divided modulus. 11 modulus 5. This one it will be 5, it will be 2, and it is going to remain 1. So we have a remainder of 1. And this operator, it's the whole number after the division is done. For example, if you do 11, this 5, it will give us 2 because it will go there 2 times and it will remain 1. These operators are the basic operators that are supported in Python, and we can put all of them together in one expression as is usually done in mathematics. So we can have 3 times 3 minus 7 divided by 4, this 3, then modulus 4. So it will give us an answer as expected. All these are called Python expressions. We would like to write a simple code, a simple Python code that will help us to work with this. We are going to create a new file. We can either use Ctrl+N. It will create a new text editor that we can actually write code in, or we can come here, click file, and select new file. We are going to write a simple Python code that is going to add 2 numbers inputted by the user. Let's say we want to add 2 plus 2. We should expect this to give us 4, just like we do here in the interpreter. But if you expect 4, you would be wrong, because we are not actually outputting anything from this code. So to output, if you want the output of 2 plus 2, we have statement print. That means we are telling the Python interpreter to output for us the value of 2 plus 2. So here we are going to have 4 as our answer. What if we don't always want to add 2 plus 2 every single time? What if we want to be able to change the values of the numbers that we're adding? This is where the term variables come in. They are called variables. You can think of variables as simple placeholders, assuming that you want to mix two different liquids and you have two buckets. Each bucket can serve as a variable that will hold the first liquid, and the second bucket will serve as the second variable that can hold the second liquid before we mix them together. This is basically what variables are. They are placeholders for the data. So here we can put our number as variable. Our variable is number. So this equal to here is an assignment operator. It is called an assignment operator. We use it to assign values to variables. So here let's assign the number 2 to variable number, and then let's now print the variable out so that you understand what is going on here. So here you see that it is printing out the number. We are printing out the variable number, but here what we stored with what we assign to the variable number is the number 2. Let's say we assign the number 34. Now let's see what to be printed out. You see that it is printing out 34 because we assigned the number 34 to the variable number. But here what we wanted to achieve is to sum two numbers. So let's call this our number 1, and let's call the second one number 2. So we have number 2 will be let's add 1 so that we have 35. So what you are going to do, what we want is to print the addition of number 1 and number 2. So we can print number 1 plus number 2. So here of course we expect it to do what 35. Then it has added, what we are printing is 35. We could of course do like this number. We could put result is equal to number 1 plus number 2, and then we just print result. It will output the same thing. So what we are doing here is to assign the sum of numbers 1 and 2, and assign the result to this result variable. Then we print out the result variable. So if we run it, we see we have the same result. We are generating the same effect with two different kinds of code. What we can do is to ask for input, and here we can actually ask for input this way. We can put input first. So here the input function. Input is a type of function. Maybe in the future we'll discuss what Python functions are, but here just know that this input statement is used to ask for something from the user. So here we have the what is your first number. So here we have the first input, and here we can do the same thing. Input what is your second number. So here we are doing basically the same thing here, but we are going to ask the user to give us the input that we want. So let's run it again. We will run it. As you can see, it is asking now what is our first number. Let's write 2, and then what's our second number. Let's write 2. What should we expect as a result? We should expect 4, of course, but you are in for a surprise. Let's click enter. You see that we have 22. This is because this input, Python understands anything that is inside this input statement. It understands it as a string. In Python, there are different data structures. We have the string that is represented as str. We have the integers as int. We have the list that is that's basically represented as this. So to find which kind of data a particular variable is in Python, we can just quickly type use the type function. The type function will output for us the kind of class that particular argument that is passed is. So anything in between double quotes is known is a string. It can be any words. We say class string. So let's say type. So we have type 22. You understand the type of 22 is integer, is an int. But what Python is doing here is that it is understanding the type of number 1 and number 2. It is understanding it not as integers but as strings. This let's output type number 1, and then let's output type number 2. But we want to output them, so we print them out. Print type number 1. Let's print them on the same line. Type number 2. So here we have here we are going to run it. So let's put 2. So here you can see that it is seeing this 2 and 2 as strings, which brings us to this. Anything between double quotes in Python is Python understands that value as a string, and basically it will now say type 2, so it will bring it as a string. And what is there's something called concatenation in Python, which means it joins two or more strings together to create one string. And this is what it does. It did here. It just did 2 plus 2. This is what Python outputted for us. But we can actually convert a string to a number. So assuming that we do int 2, we understand that int plus int 2. So this is going to give us what we deserve for. This conversion will work only if the value in between those double quotes is actually a number. Assuming that you want to convert a word, a string, to an integer class, it will fail. That means this cannot be converted to a number. So this is basically what you are going to do here. We will convert it to a number here. Int. So here, let's delete this. They've done what we wanted them to do for us. So we'll convert the input to a number. As soon as we get the input, we'll convert them to a number, to an integer data type, and then we'll output the result. You see that this should work as we expect. So let's say value is 2, first value, second value is 2. Now we have our result. This is basically what we can do with Python basic mathematics calculations. So anytime we want to add numbers, we can actually come and run this piece of code that we've written to give us an output. And this can work for any large sum of numbers. It has to be numbers. So it will always output for us an answer. But let's up the antics here. Assume that we want to write a piece of code to calculate the mean or the average of a set of numbers. I'm in a statistics class, for example, and I'm always calculating means. Calculating means or standard deviation and all those things. Let's first write a simple program to ask for the amount, the number of items that the user wants to deal with. That is the number of items. So let's request this, what is called a comment. It will actually be part of the program. It's just to remind any programmer what is being done in a particular line of code. in a particular line or section of or block of code. So here we have request for the number of items. I think we made a typographical error here. Let's call them n. Since in mathematics n is usually used to denote the number of items in a list of data, especially in statistics. So we have n, and then we convert it to an integer type, then we convert it to then we ask for the input from the user, which will be like this. How many items are in your data set? So here we will ask for the number of items, and then so here we go. Let's print out n to be sure that what you are doing is correct. So let's say we want 5 items in our data. So here it is working well. So now what we want to do is to actually ask for the data. We can use a for loop. In the future, I will try to make a video that explains what a for loop does and what it is and everything. So we can say for number in range n. Let me show you how a range print number. So here I will use a for loop to loop through the range of starting from 0 to this number n, and then print out the number so that at least you see how this works. So here let's say we have 5 at the same thing. So it will start from 0, then go to the beginning of the loop again, print 1, go again, print 2 until it ends. You see that our n is 5, so it goes 5 times, but it starts from 0. So keep this in mind if you want to use a for loop to loop through a range of numbers. It always starts from 0, except you put it in the argument to start maybe from 1, maybe from 3. It depends on you. While we are looping, we want to ask the user to input the number. But before that we would like to create a list that will contain the numbers. This is an empty list. This is an empty list. So let's say type. Let's ask for type this. We see that it's a list. We can have 1, 2, 3. So this will be a list of numbers. What we want to do is to store each value that the user enters inside this numbers list. So here we can say numbers. We can use numbers dot append, which will add what we want inside the list. Let's try this. Numbers dot append number. So here in each iteration of this for loop, we are adding this number into this numbers list. So now let's print out the numbers list. So here it is. We are going to print it out now. Let's say same 5. So you see, in each iteration of this for loop, it will add this number starting from 0. It add it into the list, then go again 1, add into the list until it reaches the end of n, which is n minus 1 in this case. So here we have 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. But this is not what we want to do. I just used it to show you how it works. What we actually want to do is to ask for the data from the user, since we are going to calculate the mean of the numbers. So here we'll first convert to integer, of course, then we'll ask for the input. So then we ask for the input. What we want to do here is to, let's not forget, plus number plus string. We convert the number to string. This is so that at least we can output what we want to the user to explain what we are asking for. So here we can ask for your what input number, input data, then we input 1, then we just have this. So here we now append it. Now let's see how this works. I don't think input data 1, so let's say 0, let's say we want to add 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So of course you have 2, 2, 2, 2 always, but here you can say that it is starting from 0, input data 0, input data 1, which is somewhat confusing. So what you can do is to add +1 so that it will look natural. So here we can go again. Let's say 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 this time. So you see input data 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it looks natural here, but this is not where this ends. What we actually want to do is to calculate the mean, and the formula for mean is this. Mean equals to the sum of numbers divided by count. So here it will now be, let's say our mean will now be, we can actually sum a list. Of course we can use a for loop to iterate through every item, but that will take a lot of, we can actually write a Python program that will read a file for us that contains all these numbers and do all these things, but this is a topic for a future tutorial. So here we can have 1, 2, 3, and we want to calculate the sum of these items. So you see it should give us 6. So, and we have it, and we can do the same thing here. So we can sum numbers list and then divide it by n. Then we can print out our mean here. Then we can always output it with a simple message like this. Your mean is so mean. So let's calculate the mean of a list of numbers that has only 2 in them. So of course to give us 2. So your mean is 2. This is the end of this episode, because I don't want to make it to be too long. Maybe next time we can add the part that will calculate the standard deviation and the variance. So guys, that was it. I decided not to add the standard deviation and the variance part of the code in order not to make this tutorial too long. I want to always keep my tutorials within a 10 minutes frame. In the future, we'll be expanding on this to help us calculate standard deviation, variance, and any other thing. If you want us to write Python code to solve another kind of mathematical equation, please write it in the comment section below and we will make a tutorial for it. Thank you and see you next time.